All right. C362446. Bradley Bellisario. Good morning, Mr. Bellisario. Good morning, Ms. Porray. Good morning, Ms. Baharav.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Counsel, I have here today, as we've been discussing over the last couple of times, that the case has been negotiated. I do have a guilty plea agreement. Can we keep our volume down just a little bit, Mr. Little? Thank you. I have a guilty plea agreement in front of me, and then also I have a separate motion that has been filed, a request by Ms. Porray to withdraw from the case, which, as I understand, does not need to be dealt with until after the guilty plea agreement is entered in the court. Is that correct, Ms. Porray?
That's correct, and I will need to catch Ms. Baharav on that, and I will do that after court.
Sure.
If that's okay.
That's perfectly fine. Well, let's get to the plea agreement first.
Okay.
Mr. Bellisario, I have in front of me a guilty plea agreement in which you're agreeing to plead guilty pursuant to Alford to one count of aggravated stalking, which is a Category B felony. At the time of sentencing, the parties will retain the right to argue in both cases. I'm guessing it's the other case that you have in front of Judge Eller, if I'm not mistaken. The state will agree to dismiss 21 CR 048116, 21 CR 047550, and any remaining misdemeanors in 20 CR 039342 after sentencing. The state will agree to not refile any other cases that were previously dismissed due to witness issues. The parties will agree that the victims from 21 CR 048116, 21 CR 047550, and 20 CR 039342 will be permitted to speak at sentencing in this case. Mr. Bellisario, you will agree to have no contact with Emily Bellisario, her family, her neighbors, and her friends. Any communication regarding the children will be done through lawyers or in compliance with the family court orders. You agree to have no contact with Jason Elliman and Raisa Bahda, their family, friends, or neighbors, or their employers' websites, or comment pages. You further agree to have no contact with DA Brianna Lamana or her family. You will not, or speak with her lawyer regarding any lawsuits that you might file. Any remaining counts that are contained in the criminal complaint which were bound over will be dismissed at the time of sentencing. And you agree to forfeiture, although there's no forfeiture agreement attached. Is that your understanding of the agreement that you have with the state?
I think you said if this one was the ag stalking case. This is the theft case.
Yes. Yes.
That is correct. The plea agreement I have in front of me says aggravated stalking. Is that the wrong plea agreement?
It says both, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, you're right. The aggravated stalking is in your other case, C21354165. You're right, Mr. Bellisario. So in this case, you're pleading guilty to theft, which is a Category C felony. In the other case, in front of Judge Eller, is the aggravated stalking.
And these are both pursuant to Alfred, Your Honor.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Is that your understanding of the agreement? All right, Mr. Bellisario, tell me your full name, please.
Bradley John Bellisario,
Keep your volume up. How old are you?
36.
How far have you gone in school?
Juris Doctorate.
Do you read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Do you have any type of learning disability that affects your reading comprehension?
No.
Have you recently been treated for any mental health or substance abuse issues?
Yes.
As a result of that treatment, were you prescribed any medication?
Yes.
Are you taking that medication in the form that the doctor prescribed it to you and at the frequency that the doctor prescribed it to you?
Yes.
As you stand here today, do you feel clear-headed? Do you understand what's happening?
Yes.
You understand that you're entering a guilty plea pursuant to Alford based on a guilty plea agreement that you have with the state.
Yes.
Has anybody coerced you in entering a guilty plea pursuant to Alford in this case?
No.
Has anybody made any threats to you or your family members or any of your loved ones to get you to plead guilty pursuant to Alford in this case?
No.
And has anybody made any promises to you that are not contained within this guilty plea agreement?
No.
Did you receive a copy of the amended indictment in this case? Charging you with theft, a Category C felony.
Yes.
Did you have the opportunity to review that with your attorney?
Yes.
Was she able to answer all the questions that you had about that document?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the representation that your attorney has provided to you thus far in this case?
Yes.
As to the charges that are contained in the amended indictment, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or guilty pursuant to Alford?
Guilty pursuant to Alford.
All right. You receive a copy of the guilty plea agreement in this case and also review that with your attorney.
Yes.
Was she able to answer all the questions that you had about that document?
Yes.
Is it your signature? Well, let me ask, who signed this plea agreement on page 6 and 7? It looks like it's an e-signature, is that right?
Yes.
Did you affix your e-signature to this on July the 8th of 2022 at 2:08 p.m.?
Yes.
And prior to affixing your signature to this plea agreement, had you read it and discussed it with your attorney?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty pursuant to Alford, you're giving up some very important constitutional rights?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are also giving up the appeal rights that are contained in the agreement?
Yes.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Did you discuss your case and your rights with your lawyer prior to signing this agreement?
Yes.
Do you understand that sentencing will be entirely up to the court, including whether this case runs concurrently or consecutively to any other outstanding case that you might have?
Yes.
And do you understand that the court would consider the agreement that you have with the state, but the court is not going to be bound by that agreement?
Yes.
You understand that the maximum possible sentence in this case is 1 to 5 years in the Nevada Department of Corrections and a fine of up to $10,000.
Yes.
Do you understand that this is a probationable offense?
Yes.
Because this is an Alford plea, I'm going to ask Ms. Baharav what facts would be proven at the time of sentencing if we did proceed, or at the time of trial if we did proceed.
Your Honor, if the parties had proceeded to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or between October 16, 2019 and July 14, 2020, the defendant did, without lawful authority, commit the crime of theft. We would have demonstrated the property had a value of over $3,500 or more. It would have been lawful money belonging to SG, a minor. And the reason being that we would have demonstrated theft is that while by acting as a lawyer for SG and as her guardian and her grandmother, they informed SG and her guardian or grandmother that after receiving settlement money from Progressive Insurance to settle a claim involving SG, he was going to place SG's settlement money in a blocked account for the benefit of SG, and thereafter failed to do so, thereby taking and or converting $8,333.34 belonging to SG to his own use.
Mr. Bellisario, do you understand that the court will rely on those facts in determining whether there is a factual basis for this plea, and as well as at the time of sentencing and sentencing you?
Yes.
Are you entering into this negotiation freely and of your own volition?
Yes.
Are you entering into this negotiation after discussing the benefits of taking an Alford plea with your attorney?
Yes.
And without telling me the substance of your communications, do you and your attorney feel that it is in your best interest to enter this type of plea at this time?
Yes.
Is part of the reason that you are pleading guilty pursuant to Alford is to avoid the potential consequences or greater consequences if you ultimately had proceeded to trial?
Yes.
Do you have any other questions of me or your attorney before I accept the plea? I find the defendant's plea of guilt is knowingly and voluntarily made. He understands the nature of his offense and the consequences of the plea. I'm going to accept his plea. I'm going to refer the matter to the department's role in probation for the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report. Bellisario, within the next 48 hours, you're going to reach out to the department to set up your interview time. You don't need to actually do the interview within the next 48 hours, but you do need to set up that time within the next 48 hours. I'm sure that Ms. Porray can help you with that. Can I have an out-of-custody sentencing date, please?
October 10th, 9 a.m.
October 10th at 9 a.m. So briefly, Ms. Baharav, let me get you caught up because I received a paper form of Ms. Porray's request to withdraw as counsel for Mr. Bellisario on the basis that there is no conflict, as I understand it. It's just that she is leaving her current firm effective July 20th of 2022, and she is unaware of whether there may be an adverse conflict if she goes to her new firm, and so therefore she is going to be asking to withdraw at this time. Mr. Bellisario, let me start with you. Has Ms. Porray discussed this with you?
Yes.
All right. And then, do you have the ability to retain different counsel of your own choosing at this time?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Ms. Baharav, do you have, I don't really have standing, but is there anything that you feel like you need to add for the court's consideration?
No.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually grant Ms. Porray's request at this time. And I'm going to set this for a status check in about a week. That'll give you a little bit of time, Mr. Bellisario, to think about whether you are going to be able to afford new counsel or whether I'm going to need to appoint somebody for you. So we'll set this for status check in 1 week for counsel
July 18th, 9 a.m.
And Mr. Bellisario, if you have somebody who you've retained within that time and we get a notice of appearance filed on the record, then I will allow you to appear via Blue Jeans for that hearing. Otherwise, I'm going to ask that you come in person on that day, all right? Is there anything else that I need to do on this case today? Ms. Porray, has this been filed on the docket yet?
No, it has not.
With your permission, I'm going to file it in open court and grant it on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To let the court know, I am counsel of record for Mr. Bellisario on 3 other criminal cases, and those we have on Thursday, all 3 of them. So,
Not in front of me.
not in front of you. Should I ask those courts, let them know like that you have set a status check on the 18th for retention of new counsel if he has not by then. He and I are hoping that, that I'm going to be firming of where I am going and that I will be able to take him with me.
Sure.
That's our preference. And so, I
Will you know that answer by next week, or will you need to get past the 20th to know the answer to that question?
I'm hoping that I'll know before the 20th.
Okay, we'll set it for the 18th if we need a continuance. Ms. Porray, if you think that you're going to be able to stay on the case, if you will also appear that day, I would appreciate it.
Okay, on the 20th, I will let the court know I have a doctor appointment that I cannot move. It's been set for 3
So-
months.
The status check is set for next Monday, which is the 18th. Are you going to know the answer before then?
I hope so. If I do, I will contact the court.
You let
and
us know.
Ms. Baharav.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, counsel. Thank you, Mr. Bellisario.
Page 7.